Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse, and I wanted to, in this segment, briefly discuss with you the use of antibiotics because I get a lot of questions about this, and it's something that I feel like needs addressing. So, as you probably know, I've done some videos on, well, I did a video on the top antibiotics to store, top 5 antibiotics to store, and I want to clarify a few things. One, antibiotics are not a first-line treatment. And I think the tendency can be that if we store something, if we have something, oh, there's a scratch. It looks like it's a little bit red. It looks like it's a little bit pussy. Antibiotics. And that's not the way to do it. We need to understand that, as with any drug, antibiotics have a definitive pro and con aspect to their usage. There are side effects to antibiotic usage, including wiping out your good flora, meaning wiping out the good bacteria that compete with the bad bacteria. So let's be discerning here with our usage of antibiotics. Antibiotics are not for every little snivel in the way that I see it. Antibiotics are for when you have tried and tried and tried and this infection is not going away. You have done probiotics. You are doing everything that you can do from a nutrition standpoint to give your body what it needs to heal. You're getting rest. You're making sure you're getting adequate hydration. Antibiotics are for when you have exhausted all of your options and you have no options left. The problem that can happen when we're too gung-ho about antibiotics is that we go in there, and this is the risk that people need to understand when you're storing antibiotics. If you go in there cavalierly and give an antibiotic dosage to somebody who doesn't need it, you can make the infection worse. And this is why I say, because if you wipe out the good bacteria, especially if you're giving antibiotics blindly and you haven't done a culture for them or anything, then you're taking the risk that you're going to obliterate their good bacteria, set them up for a secondary infection, or set them up for the infection that they already have going absolutely crazy. So let's be discerning here with our usage of antibiotics. Another thing to consider here too is that bacteria are by nature a dynamic organism. So there is no guarantee that the antibiotics that you store now, i.e. Cipro, there is no guarantee that that is going to work in 6 months, a year, whatever. It may work now, but it may not work in the future because by nature of an organism which has life in it and grows and changes and has little microevolutionary processes going on, it may not work. So you have to balance that too. Another thing to balance here is people have allergic reactions to antibiotics. So going out and throwing them here, throwing them there. If somebody does not have an antibiotic allergy at one point, there's nothing to say that continued exposure to it will not make them hypersensitive to it in the future. So that's something to balance as well. I wanted to put this information out there to people because I recognize that, hey, I do store antibiotics. I think it's a good thing to have, but I also think that judicious usage of them is paramount here, because we, in my opinion, are creating bigger storms on the horizon by just throwing them, hither and yon to every person who may have a sniffle or to anything that may look like it possibly might be infected without giving our bodies a chance to naturally deal with them in an effective way. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter. I wanted to put out just a little bulletin of clarification for y'all because there have been questions on this, but I wanted to give you my 2 cents. And for now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.